Hey, it's Giggy. Welcome back to SIPTOPIA episode 7. This episode we will be adding more to Beaver Paradise. The beavers have worked really hard doing a lot of building, and they have quite a bit more to do though. We still have all of this area that they need to end up building, but it'll just take some time and we'll get it done. Our priority will be increasing food production. Right now, our food supply is definitely going in the wrong direction. Last episode, we finally built the smelter, so now that we have metal, we can finally open up our food factories, which should quickly rectify this situation. At the end of last episode, I forgot to adjust our floodgates again, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. I need to make sure that we've got all of our water stored here. And I realize that I've been setting these gates, but really, until we have the levees built here, there's no need. It's not going to hold enough water anyways. So for now, we'll just set some to completely open and have the other one closed. Let me go around and just set those up really quick. And then the other thing that we need to end up continuing to do is, I think that one, yeah, that one's open and closed. And the flooding is always real until it balances out. We need to continue adding more and more of our birch trees because due to the bad tide being 2 days this last cycle, it killed our trees. So we need to go ahead and continuously add in those. I think that's pretty much filled in there, but we'll have to add in those once those trees are cut down. Let's take a look and see how much our food factory, how much metal that it needs. So it looks like it needs 10 metal blocks, which we currently have 9, so just one more and we can get one built. Before we unpause the food factory though, we do need these wheels built because we have to have the power come from this side to this side. So let's increase that and then we will unpause this one and this will be our next priority. I'm gonna go ahead and take a peek really quick, see what priorities we have set to. Alright, yeah, I do want that built so that we can store more water. We still need to build our campfires. Everything else should be good. That's all still in the red over here, so that's fine. Alright, then what we'll end up having to do is unpause this area. So let's take a look what we have down below. We have multiple storages that will need unpaused, and then we'll have to change this all to high priority, and then I'll want the platforms built as well. And then we need these platforms built, otherwise the beavers won't be able to access our food factory. And then the next thing we'll want them to finally build is the food factory, and we'll set that to high as well. I'm going to keep it as eggplant rations because we have quite a bit of eggplants right now. Once this one is built, we can unpause this one, and then this one can end up being for the corn rations. I'm going to increase the speed and let the beavers work on that. And let's go ahead and take a look at Beaver Paradise over here and see what we can change to a lower priority for now. We don't need all of that built just yet. And we'll select this because this will all come later. We have this whole area. We don't need this many houses just yet, and everything else should be good. And now that we have 62 beds available, I think it's time for us to go ahead and delete these houses. We don't need them anymore. And debating if I want to get rid of these as well. I think for now we'll just leave them there. It's not hurting anything. We don't plan on putting anything there just yet. Now I want to take a look at our metal area and see how that's coming along. Looks like the beavers have cleared out some more trees, so let's connect the pathing here. And then I can add another smelter right next to it. Can't put this one yet because we still got a tree there, but that's fine. Our next goal is going to be obtaining bad water. So we need to get all the way over here. So I want to set up pathing to get there. Once we have the tubeways, this will be a lot easier, but for now we've got to deal with the old school way of just building the platforms and stairs. And it looks like I need another stair right there, and then add in our path. Once we have access to bad water, then we can go ahead and have explosives, which will allow us to finally be able to build better water diversions, as well as we can have better water reservoirs than we do currently. I missed one. Let me add that. There we go. And then we just need to connect the path over here. And I'm not totally sure how I want this laid out yet, but at least this will direct us over here. I think though, because we'll end up needing the large water wheels over here, and then if I remember, the explosives is 4, so let's go ahead and add the path going this way. And then somehow we'll end up setting the bad water pumps over here. One thing I'm really looking forward to is if you see how quickly this water is moving here, this will generate quite a bit of power. I'm excited to find out how much it will actually generate. Alright, let's see how our beavers are coming along on our food production over here. Looks like we've got one wheel built and they are currently working on the second one. Let's see. Okay, that one's almost built. Perfect. So they're coming along quite well. And it looks like they finally cut down this tree over here, but it would seem they left a log behind again. And if they could pick that up, then we can go ahead. Thank you very much. Place another industrial storage right here, and then we can set that up with logs. And then it looks like I can finally add a path over here. Let's finally finish that up. And our food factory is coming along. We need it built ASAP because this food just keeps going down. It's not good. Now that we're starting to build closer on this side, I want to match what we did over here and put that on this side so the beavers can easily access up here. So let's add in 2 high platforms on each side, and then this water, that's gotta go at this point. We'll end up moving that to another spot, so let's get rid of that. We're also going to empty all of these water tanks, and then we can get those out of our way. Finish adding our pathing here, and then we'll need to add in our stairs and more platforms, but this has got to go first, and on this side as well. And then where's my path? There it is. Connect that there, and then we just need platforms and stairs. This will make it a lot easier for the beavers to get up and down. That way they can get to both levels. And then we'll add in the path here. And we can get rid of these because they're emptied now. And I almost forgot we need paths underneath. I always forget that part. And until we get the dynamite and can build big water reservoirs, for now I'm just going to end up adding our water pump back over here, and then we can just add a medium water tank right next to it. There we go, and then make sure I select the water. And I want to set both of these to a high priority because we still need water over here, and we'll also need that. Might as well get all of these built. And we can place another large industrial storage over here and have that be... Nope, it's got to be turned the other way. And then mark that for wood. And we might as well get rid of this now and add more on this side. We can do, let's see, on this side we have them facing this way. And then turn this around. This will be wood. And then we'll have planks on top, kind of keeping with our theme here. And we'll mark all of that as a high priority as well. And look at that, our first food factory is finally built. So let's go ahead and unpause this one and make that a top priority because we want to get more food producing as soon as possible. And I'm noticing I'm also going to want that, but let's get all of that going too. So that way we can get over on this side. I'm going to want to unpause our oil press because the eggplant rations need canola oil. So we'll be going through a lot more of that now. And I want to set this food factory prioritized by haulers. Now that we're producing corn and eggplant rations, I want to add some storage over here. We want to make sure that we can stockpile as much food as possible as we continue to grow our beaver colony. And let's have 3 added. Then we can do corn rations here. We'll do eggplant rations. And then this one can end up being our algae rations, but we're nowhere near that yet. And then I want both of these built as soon as possible. And I almost forgot, another thing that we can finally build is the sluices now that we have metal. And then we can finally get our mangrove farms going, which will supply us with the mangrove fruit, and soon our food issues will be completely solved. And let's see, we should be able to build 3 right there. Yeah, that should even out. And then we'll put levees on top. Make this a very high priority and then add paths on top so that they can build it. And the nice part is too, then they'll be able to access over on this area as well when we want those built. And then now we can change the priority on our forester and our flags to a high priority. But we definitely want the sluices and levees built prior. I don't think we're going to need this path. Let's find out because they should be able to access it without. And then I can go ahead and just add another mangrove tree right there. Might as well get one more. And then let's go ahead and set our sluices up for, let's see, close above downstream. We'll do 0.95. Everything else should be fine because bad water doesn't get into this area. We might as well build it over here as well and get this mangrove farm going. So we'll just set up how we did on the other side. We'll put 3 sluices and then put the levees. And then we'll add a path going on top so the beavers can access. And set our sluices if it lets me click on the sluices. Okay, just be difficult. It's fine. And then 0.95 there as well. And then we need to set up our second mangrove farm over here. So we need our paths or platforms and then add 4 there. And then we need our stairs for them to get down. The pathing here. We need our forester, lumberjack flag, and then our gathering flag right here. And we'll fill this all in with mangroves. And then just like the other side, the first 5 rows are going to be set to cut. We might need to add more, especially since these got, so I'm thinking at least 6 is probably what's going to be happening. Yeah, let's go ahead and mark the 6th row while I'm thinking about it, because I think it's going to end up going that far. I don't know if we end up getting, because the last bad tide was 2 days, so I don't know if we get 3, if it's going to be even worse. We'll have to find out. And then for now, I'm going to set this to a low priority. We don't need any of this built quite yet, but at least it's all set up and prepared for when we want it. And our well-being just increased, and it looks like it's due to us having our other food option. However, it looks like, how are we coming on that storage right now? What did I put as a higher priority? Yes, over here. Actually, I kind of want these built because currently we're not storing any food which is not the plan. No problems, just solutions. I'm going to reprioritize what we're doing over here. So we're gonna change that to high. This will be medium now, because I very much want this other food factory built, and they haven't even started on that yet. And have they started on this? Yes, so at least they're building that now. What else do I have set to a higher priority? We already adjusted our beaver paradise, so that should be fine. Alright, so they'll work on that, and then that should be good. Everything will be fine. Let's check on our metal over here. Looks like they cut down some more trees, so let's go ahead and add in another smelter. Actually, we could build another one, but I do probably want a path over here. Let me add one before I forget, because I'll want to place one there and then not realize. And then we'll pause the smelter, and for now, until we get another smelter going, it looks like, and we're actually at almost full capacity on scrap metal, so let's see if we can rectify that. Wonder if it'll let me place storages on these or not. Yes, it will. Good. So we can end up adding 2 right there, and then we'll just delete these all together. And I can add another one down here and place a path. And then once we get rid of this scrap metal over here, then we can keep adding. We'll have this stored with the metal, and then we'll have this one stored with scrap metal. And we need those, at least 2 of those built as soon as possible. And then we'll want that picked up as well, because that's got 27 metal blocks. Let's see how our large storages are coming along. Alright, they've got the one built. That's perfect for our corn rations. Now we're just waiting on the eggplant rations, and that one is done now. And let's see how they're coming along on our food factory. Should be starting to work on that now. Well, they would be if I remembered to unpause the storage that's right below it. Let's do that real quick, and that should rectify that problem. Since we are getting almost full capacity on water, let's go ahead and pause 2 of these pumps. That way those beavers can go ahead and build or do something else productive. Since our tree farms are looking good, I think it's time to set these to medium. I want to get these trees out of here. And then to make it easier for our beavers to build on to beaver paradise, let's go ahead and store some logs right here. They can easily access them. Get that done. Also, by clearing out these trees, we can add more pathing, so that way the haulers have a lot shorter distance to move the water from these pumps all the way over to the housing area. While I'm thinking about it, let me see. Did I did not. So I want to prioritize that and set to obtain. Let's check on our food factory. Perfect. Now both are built. So the next thing that they're going to work on is our mangrove area, which for now, since those are built, we can pause those until this is completely built, because it's flooded and they won't be able to actually work in there. Looks like I can add a few more birch trees over here. Let's get those planted. Now that this is almost finished, let's go ahead and work on our bad water, because that is our next task. We're going to need a large storage tank for our bad water, and we'll place that right here. Select bad water. There it is. And then we'll have platforms going across so that they can get to the other side. And let's see, how high is this? Ugh. Alright, we're gonna need, let's do 3 by 4 here. And then we'll have to have this up another level. Now we can add in our bad water pumps. I'm so excited. Let's flip those around and add a pathing right here. We can always add on to this, but 2 starting out, I think it will be good. We don't need too many right now. And then we'll also need our explosive factories. So let's go ahead and add those in. And we'll place 3, but for now we'll only build 1. And then we'll need to build in the large wheels so that we can have... Actually, let me pause all of those because they'll need to access the wheel. That will actually need to be too high. Let's see if we can place a wheel right here. Oh, wrong wheel. Needs to be the correct wheel. And then we should be able to place those going across. Let's see here. Another bad tide? Are you kidding? 3 for 3. I have never experienced that. Have you guys ever experienced that? That is it. I just lost my train of thought of what I was doing now. Alright. Well, on a bright side, we will continue to have power going due to a bad tide, but that is absolutely crazy. Oh, I also needed to add in a large storage over here. So let's get rid of some berries. Let's see here. We need... Oh, we'll just get rid of those. That'll be fine. And then we'll end up placing a large storage here for our explosives. Let's check on our mangrove farm and see if that is built now. Yes, it is. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and get our forester in there, and he can start planting all of our mangrove trees. And let's go ahead and unpause our mangrove storage, get that built in preparation. And then while I'm thinking about it, I want to make sure that we set those to obtain. And our next focus is going to be getting more water storage. So let's go ahead and increase the priority on those. And then I can actually set this to high now that we've completed all of that. Let's select just this area for now and then get a couple more houses built. Now that the beavers have started clearing this out, let's go ahead and add some pathing in here. Make it easily accessible for our haulers and our beavers to get from A to B. We won't go too crazy just yet, but at least add in a few. Let's add right there, because they still have quite a few trees to get rid of. And right down here. And let's see, that can now be connected. And then up this way as well. And then where else does this add up? Right here. Alright, that should help out a lot for them to get from A to B a lot quicker. It doesn't look very pretty, but it won't remain that way. We'll end up putting all kinds of stuff, because right now we're working on Beaver Paradise, but we still have more well-being that we need to end up adding. We have the Motivatorium, we have mud baths, we have detailers that we still need to add, the wind tunnel. That's all going to be in this area. And then we still have to start working on some monuments, but we're definitely going to need more science to unlock a lot of that type of stuff. And we have higher priorities right now. Looks like we can actually fill in some more birch trees over here. Get those planted. And then since we built over here, now we can actually finish this area up, at least the layout for now. Let's add in another lumber mill, and then we can have our gear shop, and that works out perfectly. Look at that, it finished off very nicely. Now our food is in a much better place. I feel a lot more comfortable that it's over 1,000. I think we started this episode in, what was it, the 300s? It wasn't looking good, especially with how many beavers that we have. I'm gonna go ahead and select this debris really quickly, so that way that's all cleaned up nicely. Alright, our bad tide started. This one is 3 days, so we'll see how many more trees that end up dying to bad water. We'll at least get to test that out. Let me just go around real quick and close all of our floodgates. I think our next focus is going to be adding more science. The beauty of... Oh, that was the wrong way. That needs to actually be opened. And so does this one. And then this is closed and that one's closed. We should be good now. Let's double check. Rather be safe than sorry. Oh, see, missed one. That would have been a catastrophe. Alright. So the next goal that I want to focus on is unlocking the number cruncher, because it will give us a lot more science than what the inventors are currently giving us. Plus, this will give us 5 beavers back into the working force that can do other things. I also want to be able to have this power coming out this way so that we can continue adding more industrial things along here. So let's see how we want to lay this out. I think if we add, we'll just play around with it and see what we like. Then we can add a storage right on top. And that could be for more logs. You can never have enough log storage. Then we need to have the power going over here. So let me add in some platforms right there. And then we can add in our power shafts going this way. Then so the number cruncher can sit on top, we'll place those. That should align right. Let's find out. And where is my number cruncher? This is one of my favorite things that the iron teeth have. It ends up giving us, well, it doesn't say, but I think it's 10 per hour. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's 10 per hour. So we'll double our efforts with no beavers. Now in order to get over here, all of this is going to have to be unpaused unless I just unpause this one large water wheel, but that will not give us enough power. So we're going to end up finishing up our industrial area over here. Oh, that one I never paused. And then we'll make this a high priority. And let's make sure that I have underneath built. Yes, I do. And then we can end up building the number cruncher. And for now, we do not need all of those going. So we're going to pause all of these, and then once that one's built, we'll pause that one as well. And then we also need the platforms done, I just noticed, so let's add that in. And it looks like our storages must be built for water because we have a lot more capacity. Yes, we do. So let's go ahead and unpause these pumps and get that going. All right, looking good. So far the bad water is still holding out to 2 rows, but we'll see if that increases or not. Since we have so many planks, let's actually pause a couple, or at least one, because then we can unpause 2 gear workshops instead and increase our gear capacity or storage. The next thing I want to end up working on is power storage. So since we have this being built over here, what I'm thinking is we can end up building a path for the beavers to go down. And no, actually I need that right there. Let's see, we need smaller. That way they can just have stairs going down. And then they can get to this other side. And then what I'm thinking is we can end up building gravity batteries going across here, because this ledge will allow the gravity batteries to go all the way down here. So let's place those really quickly. And for now we'll just place 5. That should be good. Looks like our bad tide is over. Alright, another one ended. We'll have to wait and see if we end up getting 4 for 4. I cannot believe that we had 3 bad tides in a row. I have never experienced that. Like I mentioned before, if one of you have, please let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to know how many people have experienced 3 bad tides in a row. Next episode, we will work on finishing our number cruncher. And then hopefully next episode we can actually have Beaver Paradise completed, which will allow us to start working on Beaver Paradise number 2. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please leave a comment and provide any constructive feedback, something you'd like to share, questions, and or just say hi. Take care. See you soon.